increasing rights for people who have been marginalized. I'm all for that. But they don't know when to stop. And that's what the message of the electorate was, that the Democrats are all for the oppressed. And what the electorate was saying was, what's oppressing me? The price of eggs. Okay, right. That's what's oppressing me. Are there still racists in this country? Of course. Is that still an issue? Yes, it is. But the Democrats have to come to Jesus on that issue and a number of issues where obviously the fact that Donald Trump won more minority votes than I think any Republican since Nixon or before, that should tell you a lot. It's more about class now. And when they get on that page, when they have someone who comes up to I always say, let's live in the year we're living in, I think that party will do better. As of now, I don't see it in the Democratic Party. I see them still digging the hole deeper. But we'll see. I think parties basically want to survive, as all organisms do. But the Democrats could go the way of the Whigs. Parties do die off when they don't adapt. I don't think that's going to happen because I think, again, they do want to live.
Oh, Bob, it's just a constant fire hose of tennis balls, isn't it? It's a tennis ball machine inside a fire hose.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm doing all the speech writing for Rep. Dexter there in Oregon. So that's why. Hence the F-bomb.
You and JoJo from Jers.
Yeah, that's right. I just figure, you know what? We're in a new era. It's time to youngify the Democratic Party. So more F-bombs for everybody. Yes.
Are there enough F-bombs for this particular moment in our history? Bob, I was saying off the top of the show, it really is just like a bad acid trip inside a Fellini film. It's just, directed by David Lynch. Right. It's just, right, Elon, this shadowy foreign billionaire, like his little son picking his nose, like, talking for 30 minutes. With Trump sitting there, and then Trump sitting next to the king of Georgia, like saying, we're just going to take Gaza, just going to take it. Just no have to buy it. It's going to take it.
Right. It's so awkward and weird, and it just emphasizes everything Tim Walz was saying back in the glory days of the Harris-Walz campaign. And just seeing Donald Trump sitting there behind the Resolute desk, looking like a buzzard, just perched there with that sourpuss on his face, just hideous. And Elon Musk, it really is like a Fellini movie. It is really surreal that we're in this place where now this guy who ruined Twitter is now doing the exact same thing to, the United States.
He's such a little bitch. He's just like, right? It's how he looks like with any man that's more powerful or richer. He's just sitting there just like, I mean, like he looks at a press conference with Putin, right?
Yeah. Right. And this, I go back to this observation I had throughout the previous 4 years nightmare with Donald Trump is, he sits and does things the same way all the time. Like if he's sitting for an interview, he's got to sit with his hands in that V shape in front of his crotch, right?
Right. You call it the dick. Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
pardon me. Sorry.
Yeah. See.
Oh my God.
I was going to say D, the D tent. You call it the D tent. Pardon me.
Yes.
Sorry, Nola.
It's like a little tent for his D that he sits there and he's hunched over, again, looking like a buzzard, or sitting at the Resolute desk with his one hand over the other hand. He always has to sit that way. It's part of his branding, and all he has is the Trump brand. That's what the Trump organization sells. That's what he sells politically. It's the Trump. He's a lifestyle brand, and so he has to do all these things.
Yeah.
The same way. And so down to that doesn't even take into consideration all the fascistic dismantling of the United States government. Just the silly, stupid things drive me nuts.
Yeah, I know. It's just the whole, both scenes yesterday were so surreal as I don't even, so I love the reporting on it. King Abdullah, the discomfort in the plan was obvious. As he indicated, alternate proposals for Gaza would be forthcoming. He said, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, just the look on his face and Marco Rubio's face when he said we're just going to take it. I was like, He said we wouldn't need to buy Gaza. Instead, we're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. Why does everything he say sounds rapey? I don't. Right. It sounds creepy and rapey and okay. Then he was asked about threats to pull U.S. funding from Jordan and Egypt, and he said, "I don't have to threaten with money. We contribute a lot of money to Jordan and to Egypt. That's a threat."
Yeah.
Right. By the way, a lot to both, but I don't have to threaten that. I think we're above that. Oh, really? Is he above anything? No, of course not.
No,
He's
no.
he's sending, what do you call it, J.D. Vance to shake down Zelensky soon. It's like, he's, I don't know, Christopher or Big Pussy or somebody that Tony Soprano would send, right? to like, we want your minerals. Give us your minerals.
Yeah. Well, the tragic thing about all of this, in addition to the obvious headline, which is ethnic cleansing, that's what this is. That's what he's proposing for Gaza. The other thing is, I think he believes there are just like 12 Palestinians, and he can just send a couple of Ubers to pick them up and transport them to Jordan or Egypt or wherever, and everything's going to be fine. But what he's actually doing
no,
is
he thinks Netanyahu. It's a it's a Juber, and Netanyahu will just send a Juber to pick them up.
I'm so glad that you said that and not me. But sure, yeah, a Juber. That's right. Just call them up and they'll be there in 15 to 20 minutes to transport you to your new home, and everything's going to be great. Then we can put a bunch of Trump towers there, and Jared Kushner can run them all. But you know what's going to happen? What he's doing, he's triggering decades of terrorist blowback. He's actually going to send Americans to Gaza, who will then be the targets of every radical in the Middle East, every terrorist in the Middle East, not to mention the terrorist attacks that will occur on American soil, 9/11 style or somewhere in that range, because here we are sticking our noses in a place in the biggest hotspot in the world, putting, just contractors and people building hotels in between Israel and the Palestinians, Hamas, etc. It's just a colossal mistake, even to muse about it. I mean, if you believe Chris Murphy, this is just a big distraction.
Right.
But the whole idea of Donald Trump even talking about, proposing it, is going to create all kinds of new problems for the United States and its allies moving forward.
Yeah, and not to mention it might blow up this entire ceasefire and hostage deal and start, World War III Saturday at noon.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Hamas has already pulled out, and whatever the hell that was, as far as Donald Trump talking about noon on Saturday.
Yeah,
I don't understand. Is it the wide world of sports? I don't think so. I think he's going to be doing something else, maybe. But who knows? Because he always talks about that. Oh, yes, we'll have a healthcare plan on Tuesday or 2 weeks from today. And it never actually happened.
You were all over it on social media, Bob, because it's just, I keep saying there's no way to underreact at this point. You said Elon Musk is data mining the entire population of the United States. You also said this is a gateway to full dictatorship. It's judges who ostensibly stopped Donald from declaring himself president for life. Here was a good idea. You said there needs to be a constitutional amendment establishing an independent agency within the judiciary that enforces rulings. That is, if democracy survives long enough to do it. I mean, I keep saying we're in the constitutional crisis, right?
Oh,
yes.
I mean,
But talk a little more about that. I mean, because that's what I kept saying. Like when they're saying they're not complying, or they told Musk to destroy all the data. Who's making sure he did it? Nobody, right? I mean, who? Kash Patel, Pam Bondi.
Yeah. Well, this is just something that once again we were warning people about for years with regard to Donald Trump and the possibility of a second Donald Trump presidency. Is the fact that one of the presidents that he can actually name and remember is Andrew Jackson. And Andrew Jackson is Donald Trump's hero, mainly because, as I said, Donald Trump knows who that president is. He can't remember any of the others, but that one in particular, because Andrew Jackson famously defied the Supreme Court. And so Donald Trump feels as though, well, that's precedent. That's part of the presidential tradition, so I can do that too. But we're facing this crisis with authoritarianism inside the United States, and it's a oligarchy / authoritarian government now.
Yeah.
And the only real way to push back against that is the courts. The courts are the last bastion of democracy inside the United States. And so now Elon Musk appears to have completely defied Judge McConnell's orders, the federal district judge in Rhode Island. And he's aware of that. And now we ratchet up the stakes of what's going on now. Will this continue, or does it take some time to unravel what they've already raveled? I don't know what the delay is, but we can only assume that it's deliberate, that they just have no respect for the Article 3 powers.
This is our lives now, Bob. You and I. This is all, lawsuits and
Yeah.
judge overruling, freezing this, Trump administration defying, rinse, lather, repeat. I mean, it's
Yeah.
you talked about it. This is just the parade of horrible stack in general. You said they're trying to nuke democracy by welcoming cyber attacks against election systems. If you're looking at take it to the streets moment, this could be it. I mean, staffers at the nation's cybersecurity agencies whose job it is to ensure the security of U.S. elections have been placed on administrative leave, jeopardizing critical support provided to state and local election offices across the country. They deal with a range of threats from cyber and ransomware attacks to physical security of election workers. Other staffers placed on leave were told they were reviewing the agency efforts to combat misinformation and disinformation. I mean... He's for all of this. He is for disinformation continuing because obviously they're interfering to help him. That's our cybersecurity for our elections.
Oh, yeah. He's clearing a path to do all the things he's always wanted to do, to abuse this power. And by the way, I think we need to be incorporating that back into our vernacular these days, which is abuse of power, which is an impeachable offense, by the way. And that's what we're seeing. We're witnessing this, but it's been so incredibly normalized that when Donald Trump disbands the agency that's tasked with preventing cyber attacks on our election systems, and he does so on a day when there are actual elections taking place. There were special elections that happened in numerous states yesterday, and that's the day that Doge and Donald Trump decide to dismantle this cybersecurity agency. Also, by the way, tasked with infrastructure security as well.
Yeah.
Important,
These are just, this one. Trump greenlights bribery and corruption with new executive order. He instructed Pam Bondi to pause prosecutions of companies that bribe foreign government officials to win business. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Bam.
Yeah.
Hang on. Hold, please. Oh, he's calling for an end to FEMA. He called to abolish FEMA yesterday. She said FEMA spent tens of millions of dollars in Democrat areas. Just for anybody's, edification. Right. The top three states that have taken FEMA funding are Florida, Louisiana, and Texas. It's just, but, he literally says the Biden-run FEMA has been a disaster. FEMA should be terminated. And so and just let the states handle it. That'll be great for when the first red state something hits, right?
Right. Well, these two nincompoops between President Musk and Vice President Trump, they have this stunted kind of Fisher-Price land idea of how the government operates. And I think, what may be influencing them is that scene from the movie Dave, where President Dave decides to, balance the budget using like a legal pad and Charles Grodin. Like he comes by and they sit there in the cabinet room and they just write it all out. Oh, we could save some money here, slash, here's some savings, carry the one, and here we go. We've balanced the budget on a legal pad. And they think it's that simple. They think it's just like, just turn all this crap off. We don't need all that. Well, who needs that?
Yeah.
Who needs cybersecurity? We don't need that. Government ethics? Nah.
One example,
waste of money.
And Musk admitted yesterday, like, oh yeah, I got that wrong. Condoms to Gaza, but I'm not going to get everything right. No, you deliberately lie and amplify lies.
Yes.
And so the one
condoms prevent HIV.
He claimed almost $60 million of FEMA funds have been spent on luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. That claim was debunked almost instantly.
Oh, hey there, it's Stephanie Miller. If you're like me and you love sharp political insight, pointy, you like it pointy and sharp, bold opinions, and a touch of humor to make sense of these crazy times, have I got some fantastic news for you. The Political Voices Network is now on Substack. This is your new go-to for the best in independent media. We're talking about my show streaming daily with episodes on demand, the fearless of journalism of Brian Karem, the brilliant side-splitting satire of John Fugelsang, the unrelenting working class advocacy of Rick Smith, and so much more. Here's the best part. Subscribing is so easy. You can join for free or go to the extra mile. Support these incredible independent voices by signing up for a full subscription starting at just $8. You'll get access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and a chance to directly fuel fearless, unfiltered media. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Hit that subscribe button and become part of the movement keeping truth alive in an era of corporate media overload. Every subscription helps, especially yours. One more time, that is politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Sign up now. Do it.